Let me do that one more time. And snap. I want to make sure that I have the screen. So, everybody, welcome. My name is Daniel McDonald. I am a specialist in HR operations and technology. Right now, I am working for a company called DoubleVerify, and I'm going to take you through some examples of the ways that we are using the Harvest API, which is the Greenhouse API connector, to get job descriptions out of Greenhouse and put them into JSON files and then clean those JSON files. So I'm going to try to take less than 10 minutes on this. If you like what you're seeing, hopefully we're going to make a series of these, and let me know what are some of the problems that you're bumping up against, and maybe we can walk through them and I can answer some questions. So anyway, today what we're going to look at is the HR systems integration that we use at DoubleVerify. There's a number of different systems that we do use, and we can talk for a second about those and how we use Harvest API specifically. And what I do is I pull out the job descriptions from Harvest API using a bash command. It's a Unix terminal, and I'll talk for a minute about that. And then when we do download it, we get the JSON files, and what do we do? How do we manage those files and use text editing to clean them up and actually get the job descriptions that we're looking for? So let's get started. So those of you who might not be familiar with Greenhouse, in some sense, it's not unlike any other applicant tracking system. We do use it at DoubleVerify. I can't say I recommend it necessarily over others, but they have been highly responsive and they tend to be fairly technical, and so you can work with them on the back end. And so what I'm going to take you through today is actually how we share the job description. So if I look at our career site, and please, I would invite anybody to take a look if you're technical. We're doing a lot of exciting work at DoubleVerify. Here I'll just look at this job description, and we can see within it there's going to be the responsibilities and how we're going to measure success. So this is how we're going to pull it out of the applicant tracking system, and that's part of what I want to show you right here using API. So for instance, this is the type of file that we're going to get out of the system. It's not the most happy. It's a little busy and not easy to work with, but within it, hidden is the information that we're looking for. So, here, manage development from concept ideation to product release, including requirement gathering, breaking down the vision, et cetera, et cetera. So somehow we need to get into the system and pull out this information. What is the job ID? What's the title? Senior product manager. What office it might be sitting in. This one happens to be sitting in Israel. So all of that information is actually embedded into this JSON file. And what I want to do is show you actually how to get that out of Greenhouse. And we're using this Harvest API here. So if you have any questions about the Harvest API, this is where I got the information that I needed. As you scroll down, you're going to see different demonstrations of types of information that you can be getting from the API using curl once you set up an API key. And part of the instructions actually are here, how to set up an API key. I might make just a separate video on that because that's going to take 5 minutes or so, but it's within Greenhouse, right? So like if you're familiar with Greenhouse, it's up here in the settings. If you're a dev center person, you can set up your API links here in the dev center, and there's also lots of information, like for instance. Okay, so let's take a look at some of the specifics within this. We're going to download JSON files from Greenhouse, and we're going to do that using a curl command. And so we'll get these files and we'll make them into text files. If I look here in Python, for example, we're going to use Python to work with some of this text and doing the splitting, and then we'll get it into a relatively simple text file and put it into a text editor, which will hopefully help with the visual that when you want to edit. So like for instance, if I just quickly share this key here, we're going to use this JSON key. This is the text editor, and you can see how the things are highlighted that I want to have highlighted. So it'll be easier to edit the JSON files actually. So let's take the terminal, and what the terminal is going to do is it's going to use our API key to actually pull the file, right? And so these files here that I've gotten out, but we'll use this curl command here in our terminal. So for those of you who have never opened a Unix terminal before, this is what it looks like. Fairly simple. You can just do a search on your Mac or your PC. You can open a terminal. It's really kind of the most basic level of your computer. It should work once you just put your API key in between these brackets. And you don't even have to change the JSON format. The one thing that you do have to know is where it's going to land, right? So if I, in this terminal, want to see where things are going to land once I save a file, this is my working directory. So if I just type in pwd, print working directory, and you will see where this lives. So anyway, we've downloaded the JSON files. We have them now in our computer. Keep an eye out for my next video, which is essentially going to be how you can take those JSON files and split them and put them into a text editor and then make them look something like this, right? So within that JSON file, you're going to get a job description, and you can figure out, I think we have about 1,500 jobs or so. Many of them will be repeated descriptions, and might essentially be, maybe I get 10 to 20 really solid job descriptions for those roles that I'm looking to fill often, and if I don't already have it. So thank you very much for watching, and nice to see you all, and come back.